We're talking about
what Mr. Pickles does in one sentence. I delight your taste buds with my tangy treats.
I like it.
You like that? You like that?
That's pretty darn good, Mr. Pickles.
well, Mr. Pickles. He sits around in the jar a lot and just kind of thinks.
Stewing.
Mobility Day walkthrough video with Stu Smith. Screw you, man. Probably doesn't do it exactly the way I told you to do it.
No, I like your ideas. I do.
Right.
I will do that. I promise you.
Okay. Stu Smith going live with the Mobility Day demonstration. Oh, they're having trouble streaming to LinkedIn. Whatever. All right. I'm just over it. What do I do in one sentence? I just don't care. I'm just grizzled, mean. Nah, I'm just kidding. All right. So, couple things just to catch up. My grandson was at the Navy game on Saturday.
Oh, really?
He and his JROTC buddies all loaded up on a couple of buses and went up there and were actually had pretty decent seats.
Man, he should have let me know, because I had a tailgater pavilion inside the stadium. My 30th reunion. He could have met SEALs and Marines and pilots. Yes, it was our 30th reunion.
Wow. Well, you were busy. I didn't know he was going until he was loading up on the bus. I didn't know if you were going to the game, but that was cool.
I would have walked his whole ROTC unit through the crowd, introduced him to whoever he wanted to see.
That's cool.
That would have been fun.
Appreciate that.
Yes. Next time.
I'm sure it's not the last time he'll do that. So next time I'll be sure I'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what are we talking about today? Jim
and Stu Show. We actually have a good follow-on podcast as well, but the Jim and Stu Show, we're going to talk about a one-sentence challenge. And this is mainly for the group who's listening live right now. Audience, ? I am asking you guys, right? What has learning, and this is something I saw in the Facebook group, Sales Copywriting Content Marketing Hacks Facebook group, which I highly recommend you guys getting on if you have not gotten on there yet. And I think it might have been you or somebody else says, what has learning sales copywriting and content marketing done for you? Was that a post recently in there? Or am I just daydreaming or something and thought I saw it? Anyway, I tried looking for it today. I couldn't find it. But anyway, what has learning sales copy done for you? I was just curious about that because I did the same thing on my groups. I asked, what has fitness done for you? And I got some great answers. So it's just one of those good questions that no matter what you do, ask your audience, what has blank done for you? Right. So this is just that's for the audience. And it just drives some conversation in your social media platform if you're looking for conversation. So, and try to give them one sentence to answer it. And then I kind of combine that with what is it that you do in one sentence? And of course, the famous question, is there a wizard for that? And there is. Of course there is.
There is a wizard for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, I know we have discussed what we do in one sentence, but I was just curious if the audience, whoever's here, has done that little drill. What do you do in one sentence?
Yeah. So I have found in the past that one of the things that people get weirded out about when you're talking about what I do in one sentence is they feel like if they say it, it locks them into only doing that. And that is, I think, something that you need to be aware of, that it's also a situationally specific thing. So you can adapt it and use it on the fly. So I might say I help entrepreneurs just like you go from blank screen to compelling content, money-making sales messages at the whack of a button, no experience required. So let's say I'm talking to a bunch of authors. I help authors just like you go from blank screen to compelling content and money making sales messages so you can sell more books at the whack of a button, no experience required. So if I'm talking to speakers, I help speakers just like you go from blank screen to compelling content and money making sales messages so you can get booked more and sell more from the stage, no experience required.
Nice.
So if you can adapt, what's up, Vicky? That's the thing, is what you really want to do is have a pattern, uh, a, a script that you know so well, it's so ingrained that you can just adapt it on the fly. So Stu's can be, I help this group get in tactical shape so you can pass whatever test, reach whatever goal. So I help firefighter candidates get in amazing tactical shape so you can pass the entrance test and live your dream job as a firefighter. I help FBI candidates pass the FBI fitness or crush the FBI fitness test to give you a great shot at making it to and through the academy. So once you kind of have a pattern that works for you and what you do, you just adapt it as you go. That's the smart way to use it. Instead of you're just saying the same thing over and over and people are like, well, that sounds cool, but I'm not one of them. But it can help you too. It's too late then. It's too late. They've already made their decision based on what you said and moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point, because on my articles that I write, there's a little sidebar that says, "Who is tactical fitness coach and author Stu Smith?"
Mm-hmm.
And the answer to that is, I'm the former Navy SEAL that military recruits and special op candidates go to for books, ebooks, and online coaching to prepare themselves to get to and through intense tactical training and selection programs.
Nice.
But
I like that.
thank you. And I got that from the One Sentence Wizard.
Yeah.
And I also, it came in really handy this weekend whenever I was at my 30th reunion. And this was one of those weekends when you're about, let's say you're 50 feet from the bathroom. Okay.
Right.
And you're going to go use the bathroom. But along the way, you get stopped about 8 times before you get to the bathroom, because
Right.
you see that many people you haven't seen in years.
Right.
Right. And so
Right.
the one sentence answer comes in really handy in these
Sure.
situations, because you got to get to the bathroom.
So
Right.
when somebody stopped you, how did you adapt it to say? Because I mean, you
No,
wouldn't say that to
nope.
an old schoolmate. So what did you say?
I said, yep, I'm still doing what I have been doing for the last 20 years. I'm working out and writing about it and helping people pass fitness tests and get to where they need to be. So it was, it was a variety of that, to help people get to and through tactical fitness training.
Okay.
So yeah,
And what did people say when you said that?
they were like, "Man, you work out and write about it for a living? That's awesome."
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, yeah. I don't really have a boss. I mean, my customers are my boss. So um, that comes with a whole different level of stresses. But yeah, it's a fun thing. I was able to turn a habit into or a hobby into a profession, and you kind of lose your hobby when you do that, but at the same time, it's been very rewarding. So
So
that
what was the most interesting thing? When you ask somebody, "What are you doing now?" What's the most interesting thing somebody was doing?
let's see. Most everybody at this point has retired.
Right.
So, however, there's probably about 15 of my classmates that are still in, and they all made admiral or general,
Okay.
and probably more than that. It's probably closer to 20. But every branch of the service, every job in the Navy and Marine Corps is covered by a class of 91, 1-star or 2-star admiral or general now.
Wow.
So everything. So, everybody I would talk to is either did 30 years or less than 30 years, retired as a captain, and now they're, some of them are back in the government. I would say one guy that I met was like the number 2 or number 3 guy in the DEA,
Okay.
and just retired. Another, a whole bunch of them are airline pilots. That seems to be a standard. Once
Go
you're,
from fighter pilot to airline pilot.
yeah, a lot of the guys did that.
And then what did
So
were there any people? Go ahead.
there's a couple that I was completely jealous of, because I've been working at Amazon, for 18 years now. I said,
Uh-huh.
damn, that's pretty impressive. I bet you have some pretty good stock at Amazon. He goes, yeah, I got Amazon stock when it was at 20. Like, woo! If you know anything about Amazon stock, that's like $3,400 a share right now.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
I was
Imagine if you had $100,000 worth of Amazon stock at $20 a share. But the problem is, anybody who did, they sold it long before now.
sure.
It's easy to look at that.
True.
I had Facebook stock when it was 14. I had almost 5,000 shares of Facebook stock at $14 a share.
Yeah, it was a little sketchy at the first, but
Yeah, that's why I dumped it when I doubled my money. So was there anybody you saw that was in amazing physical shape? You're like, dang, they're still getting after it.
oh yes, and
Okay.
many that were not.
Okay.
So I would say it is a cross section of society that is where we're at. But the one sentence wizard, or the one sentence "What am I doing?" It came in really handy in that situation,
Sure.
because you just
Especially when
couldn't
you had to go to the bathroom.
you just couldn't talk to as many people as you would have liked to for a long period of time. Everything had
Right.
to be kind of condensed, and you know, yeah. So anyway, it
Right.
came in handy for other reasons as well as for business.
Well, that's cool. Did you pick up any new customers?
I didn't try.
Okay.
But there a whole lot of people were said, I gotta send my son, he's trying to be a firefighter, he's trying to be a army ranger, so I got all kinds of things like that. So
That's a tough thing. That's a tough thing position, because it's like you see somebody like, hey, here's my card. I teach fitness. Give me a call. It's like,
right.
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So what's up, JD? What's up, Carl? Glad you all are here. Well, that's cool. That was awesome.
How about
Never heard of that.
anybody? How about anybody out there? Are they
Let's hear how you're using the "what I do in one sentence." Share your "what I do in one sentence" in the comments, and let us know. I'm gonna look over here on the website. What's up, C Ray? How are you using the one sentence? How are you? Just somebody give us an example of what you're using. Give us your one sentence example. What's up, Justin? Craig's here. C Ray's here. So people are wandering in. I think about all the different places where you can use the "what I do in one sentence." You can use it when you're talking to somebody at an event. And it was homecoming, but it's still kind of a networking event.
sure?
You're still meeting people, running into people, seeing what's going on. Did you find anybody that you might want to get on your podcast?
Yes, a former astronaut.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you ask them if they want to be on your podcast?
Oh yeah. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Cool.
So yeah,
That's
I want
awesome.
to talk about some fitness of the astronaut. And what it's like coming back and feeling gravity after 3 months in space. So yeah.
Was it the Asian dude?
No,
The young Asian dude?
No, this is an Academy guy that was a SEAL, but
Okay.
he's now a retired astronaut. So,
Okay, cool. I look forward to that one.
yeah.
Okay, Idris shared his. I teach people how to create multiple streams of income investing in pretty houses without cash or credit. That's kind of a cool that's a cool spin, because everybody talks about ugly houses, but nobody talks about pretty houses. So I like that. That's an extra cool little hook.
And they say, yeah, what do you mean by pretty houses?
Right.
It drives another question, immediately. Yeah.
JD, I teach kids how to develop self-confidence, presentation, and small motor skills using magic.
Oh,
That's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I know Gordon's
Craig,
got to have one. I don't
I
know if he's
know
listening today, but he's always using that one
Craig's
for
got.
his business.
I help automate influencers Instagram using Jenna Kutcher's social media strategy. I have no idea who Jenna Kutcher is. Do you, Stu?
No, sorry.
Yeah. So that the only thing I would say there is make sure your target audience knows who Jenna Kutcher is. Otherwise, they're like, I don't know what that is.
I will. It prompts me to look her up though. So there you go.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you do stuff on Instagram. I could care less.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. I have a bad attitude. I help somebody. So I don't know who this is. I help small business entrepreneurs increase their business by 20% in 90 days. I like that. Increase business. Maybe more specific might be even more exciting. And maybe an off number. 20% is kind of, I help small business entrepreneurs increase their revenue by 21% or more in 90 days, in less than 90 days. To me,
Nice.
that'd be kind of cooler. Carl says, I'm passionate about helping online coaches and small business owners get a strong social media presence and have fun while getting it done. And the other one is I help dads emotionally connect with their kids. I like that. The other one sounds kind of generic. The first one. So work on little parts in there to make it a little bit more, I don't know, specific. It just still sounds kind of generic. Needs kind of a hooky thing in it. But I help dads emotionally connect with their kids so they can what? So they can pay off. So,
Yeah.
but
There you
that's
go.
again, that's cool. Awesome. All right. Well, that was fun. And I'm proud of you for going to your 30th because I didn't go to mine and have no interest. I might go to my 50th and see who shows up. Hopefully, it'd be at least one person I liked.
No, it was fun. It was. I was hitting a high on that one. And one thing that's really interesting. This is a little bit of history here. Is
Uh
that
huh.
after our 10-year reunion?
Uh
I
huh.
mean, it was great to see everybody. Everybody's still, a lot of them. I was just getting out, a year before and trying to start my business, and a lot of people were in the same position, but a lot of people were still in, and were thinking about getting out. But then 2 days later, after our reunion, 9/11 happened.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and the SEAL that was going to go be an astronaut, he went to SEAL Team 6 and did all kinds of other stuff. And I mean, it's crazy what that day changed, in these guys' lives, because in all of our lives, but seeing what they had to do and endure for the 20 years that they are still in, especially those that are still in 20 years
Right.
later. um, was quite, just is a little bit overwhelming.
Did
You
you
know,
think about
to
going back when that happened? Did you entertain the idea?
I did, but it was a bad time for me as I just had surgery. I
Yeah.
had just had a kid, my second kid. So it was a
Yeah.
weird transition option. But I did some consulting afterwards. So I wasn't quite into the fitness business during the first year and a half, 2 years of 9/11. So there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, I think anything else we want to talk about with the what I do in one sentence, I can show everybody real quick in case you've never seen it. We do have the what I do in one sentence wizard over in the Jim Edwards Method Premium. And the cool thing about this is it helps you to be able to come up with your what I do in one sentence based on your avatar. So if I load one, we'll do the funnel scripts avatar. So my name is Jim Edwards. I'm the quirky guy. I'm the guy in the unicorn suit. And we'll change this. Begging for book sales. Coming Amazon bestseller in 2 days. Software. All right. Click build. And I help struggling part-time writers just like you become an Amazon bestseller in 2 days so you can experience true freedom as an author doing what you love. Bam. That's not bad, right?
I love it. Yeah, that's really good.
So I can add that to my little icon. Add that to the clip bin. Let's see. Ooh, I help struggling part-time writers just like you. Or I help part-time writers just like you who struggle with ebook promotion to become an Amazon bestseller in 2 days without begging for book sales. I like that too. So this comes up with a whole bunch of different stuff, different versions. And the funny thing is like the example that you gave when people ask, hey, what are you doing now? You can use like a two-parter. So you could say, ask me, what do you do, Stu? Say, Stu, Jim, what are you doing now?
Jim, what are you doing now?
Well, Stu, you know how writers really struggle to make a lot of book sales?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I do is I help struggling part-time writers with ebook promotion so that they can experience true freedom doing what they love and even make their book an Amazon bestseller in as little as 2 days without begging for book sales. That's the little thing at the end, last thought, without begging for book sales. And now if you're an author, you're like, I need to know what you got going on here. I need to know about this. So anyway, this is a really, really, really cool wizard. We have it in the Jim Edwards Method Premium. We also have it in content marketing scripts as well. So there you go. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Mr. Pickles loves it. So
got it.
What are you doing?
I'm looking at content, looking at the comments.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't remember you reading that one, but it was
which one?
Carl's.
What? Which
Carl,
one?
I'm passionate about helping online coaches and small business owners get strong social media presence and have fun while getting it done.
Yeah. You're having a senior moment because I did read that.
Did you read that? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. I just saw it down here at the bottom. I was thinking maybe you didn't read that one because I saw the one you did read about dads emotionally connect with kids, but I don't remember that one. So my bad.
It didn't really have a period on the end of it. More of just like a dash, and I dove right into the second one. So
gotcha.
There you go.
That's how I listen. To my wife. Sometimes I get in trouble because I hear like bits and pieces of it.
Well, I think that's pretty universal, Stu.
Yes.
That's why you're just hoping she'll tell you what she wants you to do in one sentence. I wait for the summary sentence at the end of the paragraph. Unfortunately, there's additional information in the paragraph. I'm so glad my wife doesn't listen to these most of the time. But it's like, yes. And then you hopefully you picked up a keyword so that when she says, "Are you listening?" and you spit back out the keyword and then you fake it.
Yeah. Something about
Yeah. It's really dangerous what we're doing here, by the way.
Your wife very dangerous.
My wife's upstairs. Is your wife upstairs right now and not listening to you? Because mine's upstairs and not listening to me.
She's not even home, so that's why I got brave.
You got no adult supervision. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yep.
All right. So we ready for the podcast?
Yes, we have a good one. I think everybody should stick around because this is part 2 of a 3-part trilogy.
Oh, excuse me.
Trilogy.
I didn't know we started the first part.
I got the idea after posting the first one last week.
Okay.
Remember what we did last week?
No.
It was what makes a good hook.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
And this week,
yes.
we're going to talk about what makes a good story.
Oh.
And the 3-part trilogy is hook, story, offer.
Excuse me.
Boom.
Look at
How about
you.
that? Yeah.
Look at you.
Get
Okay.
creative as the producer here.
All right. I like it.
Yeah. Number 137. What makes a good story for content marketing?
All right. Here we go. Oh man. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, Jim Edwards here, and welcome back to the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. I'm your host, Jim Edwards, along with my trusty co-host and podcast producer, Mr. Stu Smith. Welcome, Stu.
Hey, Jim.
Today we are on the second part of a mystery trilogy. I was just informed before we started that this is the second part of a trilogy I didn't know we started last time, but apparently we did. Stu, enlighten us and me so that we can have a good podcast.
Yeah, so this is podcast 137, and if you missed 136, what we talked about in 136 was what makes a good hook in copywriting and sales copy and content marketing.
Uh-huh.
This week, we're going to talk about what makes a good story for content marketing. And we can discuss the different ways we can discuss the different ways that is. What is that? That's not a good story. That's not a good story.
What's not a good story?
Whatever's in the background sounds like you're in an airport.
You hear something?
Yeah. Are you joking?
Oh, that's the ice maker in my wife's basement.
Man,
There's nothing I can do about it.
Just got really loud. Okay, so
sorry.
That's okay. I thought you were doing something to just be funny.
Oh, that's not a sound effect.
Yeah, I thought it was a sound effect. You'll see. You'll hear it. So the deal is Jim has a 3-part process for sales copy, right? Hook, story, offer. So each one of these 3 podcasts, 136, 37, and 138, will be discussing what makes a good hook, what makes a good story, what makes a good offer. That's next week. But this week, what makes a good story for content marketing? Let's discuss some of the ways to get deep in the psychology of sales copy, writing a good story. Is it a short?
Okay.
Is it a short one with a sentence, or is it a longer one? Can it be a 1-sentence story? There you go.
So I think I need to stand up for this one. So here's the thing. Depending on the purpose of the story, what is the purpose of the story is going to dictate how long it's supposed to be. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me over the jet engine?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
So if you're telling a story in an ad, typically it's going to be 1 to 2 sentences or 1 to 2 paragraphs. All right. So, 1 to 2 sentences, 1 to 2 paragraphs, because what's the purpose of a story in an ad? The only purpose of the story is really to perpetuate a click. It's to get somebody to click. So it's the 2 C words: curiosity, build curiosity, and drive a click. That's the purpose of a story in an ad. So anything else you're doing is probably counterproductive to a degree, because if you're trying to do anything else other than to arouse curiosity and drive a click, you're wasting time. So now, if we talk about in a sales, let's just call it a sales letter, okay, or on a funnel, where you're actually trying to drive the sale, all right? The purpose, in the end, at the highest level, the purpose of the story is to create emotion in the listener, reader, watcher. Okay, number 1 is to create emotion that needs resolution through your product, through your offer. That's ultimately it. So I'll give you a good example from my own direct experience, my For Sale by Owner website. When I converted it over from 20, 30, 40 pages, I don't remember how many it was, at least 20 pages, over to a 1-page sales letter, the person who was teaching me about copywriting, all he said was basically tell a story. I'm like, what the hell kind of story am I going to tell? So I told the story. I told my story about having to sell 2 houses, not just one, but 2 houses, and having only 30 days to do it in. And I told the story of how I did it. But I really amped up the emotion of how I was feeling. My back was against a wall. I had just gotten married. I needed to move. I got a call that I had to be there in 30 days or less, or they were going to give the job to somebody else. And all the emotion behind it. And then I explained that I socially engineered a sale. The other one, I got a referral, and I was able to sell both houses and make the move. So in the story, I didn't tell him, I didn't give any of the how-to. I gave the what I did. I didn't tell how I did it, but it led straight into this is how I did it. I decided to write a book because I knew other people were probably in the same spot as me. So there are a bunch of different kinds of stories that you can tell, or I should say wrappers that you can put on the same basic story, which is, of course, the hero's journey. All right. The hero's journey, our intrepid person starts out here. You know, things are kind of good, bad, not really, doesn't matter. Something happens, there's a decision made, there's an event, things immediately go from bad to worse. Things get really freaking bad, and you hit rock bottom. There's a discovery made, there's a decision made, there is a lot of action and getting stuff figured out. There's finally, hey, you know, I made it across the divide and I reached the goal that I set for myself, but then I have transformed now into someone whose mission is so much bigger than what it was. So this is the typical thing for when you're selling a product. I was here just like you. I made some decisions. In fact, I was in a worse position than you. You think that's bad? Take a look at this scar, you know? And then this and this and this happened, and it really, really sucked. And it was in the middle of the night, and I made the decision. I wasn't going to take it anymore. I wasn't going to be fat anymore. I mean, that's my fitness story follows this exactly. I mean, that to a T.
Yeah, my Naval Academy story follows it.
And so this is the story that everybody loves. And so you can wrap it in different stuff. You can do rags to riches. You can do the mysterious stranger. You can do I'm mad. I'm not going to take it anymore. There's all kinds of different flavors you can do. You know, the Horatio Alger. The kid starts out selling newspapers and ends up being the chairman of the board. So the key is that there's this ultimate trajectory from basically, it's basically the trajectory is from crap to hero. That's the trajectory of any story that anybody really wants to pay attention to. So what we want to do, though, is we want to create emotion with the story and the person, because if we don't, you've heard the phrase before, people buy on emotion and justify on logic. Well, if people are going to buy on emotion, guess what we got to do, Stu?
Get them emotional.
Make them emotional. That's right. And so the fastest way to do it is with a story. A story is the fastest way to create emotion. So we also want to create the right emotion, though. If I want somebody to buy a fitness book, or if I want somebody to sign up for a fitness coaching program, what is the emotional journey that they have to go on? Because right now they're eating Cheetos and sitting on a beanbag chair watching Netflix. It doesn't hurt. So what is tell me, Stu, what is the emotional journey that I need to make them feel?
I guess it just starts off like, man, I am in a really bad position right now. I'm not what I used to be 20 years ago. You know,
Okay.
I haven't worked out in 20 years, and now I need to get started again. My health sucks.
Okay.
And I get winded walking up the stairs,
Uh-huh.
right?
And that
And
means I can't play with my grandkids. I can't play with my kids. I can't make love to my wife. I can't do all the things. And so now I'm just fat 40 and my life is in the turd bucket.
yeah,
And it's
And I
gone into
hurt all
every
over.
aspect of my life. I hurt everywhere. I have no energy at work. I can't do anything. So then there's pretty much going to be a decision, right?
Yep.
There's going to be a decision. No more.
No more.
And so for me, the decision was I could walk every morning for 30 minutes. That was the decision. No matter what, I could just walk for 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, I walked like a half a mile the first day. Next day, I walked a mile in 30 minutes. 2 weekends ago, I did 26.2 miles with 35 plus pounds on my back in 8 hours. That's the kind of journey people want to hear about. But you got to tell them the story. You can also tell a story in the first person. This happened to me. You can tell it in the third person, which is, okay, you actually have great story that you just, if you wanted to embellish it from this past weekend, you could tell a story about 30 years in the rearview mirror. But the choices you make today will dictate how it looks 30 years in the rearview mirror. I recently went to my Naval Academy reunion, 30-year reunion. And there were 3 groups of people. One group was dead, either because of ill health or because of combat and accident. Something happened. The second group was a group of people that were still in great shape because they were either had to be because they were still active duty or because they realized it affected every aspect of their lives. And they had made the conscious decision to stay in shape. The third group, I looked at and thought to myself, dear God, how are they even able to function? And after talking to a couple of them, I realized that there were several things at work. Number one, they hadn't made a commitment or kept the commitment they made to physical fitness and hadn't tied it to anything other than their military service. So as soon as military service was gone, they were no longer in shape. Second, they didn't tie it to other areas of their life that made it important on an everyday basis. So what was happening was they'd get dissatisfied, they'd work out for a while, they'd ease off the gas, and they were on this endless yo-yo of weight and other thing that was leading to nothing but injury, dissatisfaction, low self-esteem, and generally a poor quality of life. So what you need to do right now is make a decision. Do you want to fall into the group of people that can look back 30 years from now and feel great about the shape that they're in and the impact it's had on their life? Or do you want to be in that group that has low self-esteem, poor health, and generally has one foot in the grave and the other foot on a banana peel? Because someday you're going to be looking back 30 years, hopefully still in the, at least not in the first group.
Yeah.
But that, I just made that story up,
Yeah,
thinking about this. You could also tell a story of somebody you met. Here's the other thing. You can also tell a story of a typical person's experience. Let me tell you a story of the typical person and their journey in health and fitness, especially when it's past the age of 50. So, I'm going to tell it like in 2 minutes. Most people that I deal with were in shape in their teens and early 20s. Then for whatever reason, life and work and marriage and family got in the way. So they rode the wave of fitness that they had invested in their teens and in their 20s until they got to about 32 to 35. And the brakes got slammed on their metabolism. All of a sudden, they started piling on the weight. Even though they eased off the gas on their diet, they said, okay, it's time to get in shape. So they tried to work out exactly like they did when they were 20, got hurt, got discouraged. And so now they are on this never-ending cycle of being a weekend warrior. And it's nothing but putting on weight, yo-yo diets, and injury. Then for a few, what they do is make a decision, you know what? I got to get smart about this. And so they become scientific about it, but they also make it a part of their lives. So my friend Jim is a great example of that. He made the decision. He was doing it all wrong for years. And then finally he just decided to walk every day for 30 minutes. And the resulting health benefits were boom, 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 boom. It spilled over into this area of his life, this area of his life, and this area of his life. And now we fast forward 12 years and dude just ran a marathon. So again, that wasn't perfect, but it was the start. You know what I mean? That's the kind of story that you want to tell in your sales copy to make people emotional. But how you make them more emotional is you want to focus, imagine you're like a detective, all right? And you want to focus on pain. You want to focus on disappointment. You want to focus on friction, wherever they're experiencing friction. And then you want to make it worse. I mean, you want to drop the bomb on it. That's it's a really bad bomb. But you want to drop the bomb on that thing and make them feel the pain of the disappointment, and the friction. That story's got to amp it up. My wife was getting ready to leave me. I couldn't sit at my desk for more than 5 minutes. I couldn't concentrate. I was getting out of breath going up to the mailbox. I was a failure as a husband in the bedroom. I was, my kids ran circles around me. In fact, my grandkids made fun of me for being the fat old man. And that's when I hit rock bottom. When the grandkids said, "Hey, old man, you can't catch us." And then they're playing with matches in the backyard. I'm just playing. But that kind of a story, that pain story, that you want them to hit rock bottom with the story too, so that you can raise them back up in the story, and then literally link that to your offer, which we'll talk about next time.
Nice.
So
nice. Hey, one thing that gave a memory of,
mm-hmm.
and in that story, you have a video of you doing this obstacle race. I think it was a Spartan race or something. And Tough Mudder or something. Yeah. Anyway, I hear in the background, "Go, Grandpa, go!"
Yeah,
cheering on your granddad doing this Tough Mudder.
That was cool. That was a cool moment. Yeah, that was a cool moment. And I remember where that was. It was on the rings, which used to just kick my butt.
Yeah, those are hard.
And I made it all the way across the rings when everybody else who was with me didn't. And I made it all the way across the rings, and I was like, yeah. And then little Johnny was like, "Go, Grandpa!" And that was cool. Yeah, that was neat.
So imagine going through that story, and then at the peak you have, "Go, Grandpa, go!"
Right. Well, see, the other thing that you can do, there are things, and we talked about this yesterday on when Dean and I were doing our show, but that's also where you can hook and loop, which basically is you can start at the point of high drama. So you could start or big emotion, the emotional hook. Let me tell you about the time. I was laying in bed, literally dying of heart failure, in a hospital in Richmond. I had just been on my second 50-mile ambulance ride in the last 24 hours. 3 doctors had told me I had heart failure, and they had no idea what was going on. I was laying there wondering how my wife was going to be able to carry on my business, and I was literally on the verge of giving up. but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's go back to the beginning and I'll explain. And it's like,
Nice.
oh crap. So
That's a good hook.
that's the high drama. Then you give kind of a blurb. That's the hook. Okay. Yep. And then you loop back to the beginning. That's a way to do that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's a great technique. And this is like $10,000 coaching here, by the way.
Good.
But that's how you do it. So if I'm going to give you one other cool tip, and that is if you want to find a great story, everybody's like, oh, how do I come up with a story? It's right here. You hook with the rock bottom point. That's how you hook them. Let me tell you a time. So here's your hook. Let me tell you about the time I was laying in a hotel with my ankle literally in pieces, grateful that I would have to have surgery instead of being forced to work out one more time. Something like that. I don't know how accurate that was, but I mean that point of high drama is that's the low point becomes the hook. That's the point that I'm trying to give you. And Russell just asked, for people that don't have a good story that they have lived, do you recommend telling a story about a friend, real or not? That's what I just said over
Absolutely.
Here. Yeah, you can, or maybe, no, it was on this other one. You can tell a story about yourself. You can tell a story about a friend. You can tell a story about the typical customer experience type thing. So you can borrow a story from literature.
Once again, use your avatar wizard to create that guy. Create your story with the avatar. I did that one. Wrote a great article, and Kate gave it a great title of, you ever seen a Spec Ops candidate cry? And one of my favorites from, once again, both of those are from the wizards. I used the title wizard and then the avatar wizard for creating both of those.
Well, and the cool thing that I came up with, one of our recent wizards, is the Avatar's Hero's Journey, which this right here is worth joining the Jim Edwards Method Premium just to have access to this one.
Yep.
Because you can literally take your avatar and it will write the entire story for you. It writes their entire hero's journey for you. I'll give you the example with the struggling writer real quick. We're not going to do the whole thing, but let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a struggling part-time writer named Fred. Fred dreamed of becoming a New York Times bestselling author. Every day he thought about nothing else but ebook promotion and content marketing. Some might even say Fred was obsessed. Others said he was a wishful dreamer with no chance of success. But all Fred could think about was how he could make more book sales as fast as possible. He knew that if he could just get more newsletter subscribers and stop spending so much money on ads and start making money selling books, his life would be amazing. But after a while, people started to wonder if he'd ever truly get started to his goal. And truth be told, Fred even started to doubt if his goals were ever going to be anything other than just a pipe dream. So goes on to tell the entire story of Fred, which tells a couple different versions. I'm going to work on coming up with a shorter version and stuff. But this, Stu, you used this output with yours actually as an article, right? And you just took this and ran with it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's one quick way to be able to come up with that super fast.
Yeah, I'm going to do another one today. I think I'm going to do my Naval Academy journey, because that was just steeped in failure.
Well, I'll tell you what.
For the first 6 months was just nothing but failing.
I'll tell you another story that you can tell. And this is just, all of these are variations on the hero's journey, but you can milk this for a while if you want. But it's the two friends. Let me tell you about two guys, Tim and Tom. Tim and Tom both went, both went to the Naval Academy. Both were in great, amazing physical shape. And then somewhere along the line, their paths diverged. And one person's path went to, amazing everything. All right. That's like, this is the trophy cup. All right. All right. One person, everything was amazing. The other person, rest in peace. What was the difference? What was his journey? What was his journey? What made the difference? And somewhere in here, it's a decision. It's a decision. It's an encounter. It's some sort of an experience, circumstance. This is in the hero's journey. It's either here or it's here. It's the initial decision where these two are walking together, and one, there's a decision here that launches the difference, or they both go through a similar experience. They both hit rock bottom, but then there's something that happens here that causes one to rise and the other one to just, it's toilet time the rest of their life. This is actually a derivation on a sales story that was used to sell the Wall Street Journal. So two guys graduate from school. One, one goes on to be the president of the company. The other goes on to be a sort of mid-level manager. And the difference ultimately was that one started reading the journal and the other one didn't.
I remember that. Yep.
So that's another one that works really well for this type of a story. I mean, so what I'm telling you is you have permission to do more than one story about your reunion. I give you permission.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, and if you don't have a story, you can, like I said, like Russell asked, you definitely come up with stories of maybe what your avatar has to endure.
Sure.
Think about what your avatar, once again, for the Hook podcast, we wrapped it around the avatar, right?
Right.
For the story podcast, wrap it around your avatar.
That's right. Yeah, that's everything you do always comes back to who's your avatar. That's pretty much everything. All roads lead back to the avatar. JD says, do you legally have to say it's made up if it's made up? I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. You shouldn't listen to me for legal advice, veterinary advice, marital advice, financial advice, or any other advice. In fact, when I start speaking, you should start ignoring every single word that comes out of my mouth for any purpose. But in my opinion, which is worthless in a legal arena especially, I personally am comfortable saying, let me share with you what is the typical customer journey. So let's talk about a typical customer. Let's call him Ted. Now, in my opinion, I have made it clear that this is just kind of the typical customer. You can always at the bottom say, now, of course, Ted isn't a real person, but his experiences are real for many people. Okay, now I pretty much can't say that any more plainly than I have. And to me, I've made it plain that Ted is not a real person, but these are the typical types of experiences that people have. And then I would go on to tell the story. So, and if you want to put a asterisk next to Ted's name and down at the bottom say, Ted is not a real person. And obviously is just for illustrative purposes. And this website is for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered legal, professional, financial, or any other type of advice. In fact, you should ignore every word that comes out of my mouth. Michelle asked, what service do you use to make these side-by-side videos? This is StreamYard is what we're using.
Zoom does it as well.
Yeah, but StreamYard is better because StreamYard lets you go live to multiple places at once, where Zoom, you got to pay an arm and a leg and do a bunch of other stuff. So,
Yep.
Yeah. So how was that for an answer, Stu?
No, that was great. That was great. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought you would say. Exactly what I thought you would say. But here's a good one. You know, to kind of answer a little bit further.
Yeah.
I don't say this is not a real person. So I'm not saying that you have to. Maybe I should, but once again, it's kind of like when you do an avatar, it is all the experiences that your customer go through all in one person.
Sure.
Right? So
it's the ideal representation of your customer.
It might not be one person, but it might be 10 people.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It might be a combination of 10 different people struggling through a variety of different issues. Maybe not all of them have the same issue. But
if
it is
if you were to just say, here's the typical experience of or here's the experience of the typical Spec Ops candidate. If you just said that, it's like, say whatever the hell you want after that. And it's like, unless they're stupid, they realize that this is an illustration. It's just so. If you start making medical and financial claims and other stuff like that, whether it's real or not, you got to follow whatever the rules are for that. So. Yep. Potato chip.
I will tell you this, that Avatar Wizard and the Avatar Hero's Journey Wizard make a great article. And the more that you use that article, you kind of understand what needs to be said in other content that you create. Doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but something in there needs to strike a chord in all of your content that you post.
Absolutely.
In the future. Yeah.
I'll tell you one other article that you could write. You could use the listicle wizard for that. Would be lessons learned from my 30th Naval Academy reunion.
I like that one.
And then you just that one you could just rattle off random stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I mean, that's another one you could use. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
So there's another one that you could do. Did anybody say anything to you that stuck with you? Any quotes come to mind? Any just sayings anybody said?
No, nothing that really comes to mind too much. I did take my kids with me, which was kind of fun. And so they got to see a lot of my friends and, my son who's interested in DEA, FBI, probably talked to 10 different FBI agents and DEA agents that have, gone from the Navy into those federal law enforcement jobs.
That's
so
cool.
He was thrilled. And then my daughter, she's a mechanical engineer, and just about everybody there was some form of engineer. So that was always it was just a great weekend of nothing specific that really stuck out. I will say this, I was socially exhausted at the end of the weekend.
I bet.
Just socially exhausted. So I think I'm a little more of an introvert than I realized, because I was not energized by the big crowd.
Right.
I was completely drained. So
I got another article idea.
Okay.
This is a cool little angle. You could do a checklist of how to get ready for your 30th reunion, even if you just graduated. So it's like a checklist for your present self or from your future self to your present self about how to get ready. That would be a cool one too.
Yeah, I like that. I saw something about when people talk about time travel,
right?
They always talk about going back and fixing something that could change your life.
Right.
And then I always put in there, how about just doing something now that can change the rest of your life?
Yep. I think about that all the time. If I don't do this today, what will life be like? and I think it's stoicism or whatever that, if you really want to, it's like problem, agitate, solve. You can use that same thing. It's okay. If I don't do this, let me start piling on the negatives of all the crap that's, my wife's going to leave me. I'm going to lose my house. All this. It's like, holy crap. I just need to take the trash out. Easy, Jim. But it's I'm 100%. You and I are so alike on that. My thing, even when I was in my early teens, I used to think to myself, 5 years is going to be here 5 years from now, whether I do this or not. So I need to do this now. I don't know where that came from, but that's always been my thought. A year from now is going to be here, whether I do this or not. So I need to do this.
Yeah. Another thing I concern myself with is staying relevant in the future, because I am the older guy, the OG of this Spec Ops fitness world. Right. And that I am known as that. I don't mind it. I use it proudly. But I'm one of the guys that was able to stay in for over 20 years and, stay relevant for over 20 years. And there's a reason for that, right? Because I actually work hard to stay relevant.
Right.
So there you go.
And that's interesting conversation I had, just staying relevant, working hard, working at it. Everybody's so eager to tell you that you can, this is just work 2 hours a day and you can make your online business and make millions. And that's all BS. The thing, it's the people who are really making it are getting after it every single day and have been, and don't ever give up. Don't ever let up, because as soon as you do, you stop being relevant. You stop making discoveries. You stop doing the things that you need to do to stay in the game.
Yep.
And the people that you see that are really making it, that maybe even make it look easy, are the ones that are working the hardest of anybody. And people say, it's about efficiency and life hacks and all this other stuff. No, at some point you got to pay your dues, earn the knowledge, and make it happen. And that's not a life hack. That's a getting it done. So
yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Well,
all right.
That was a good one. So next
week,
stay tuned, because the next podcast we're going to talk about what makes a good offer in the Hope Story Offer Trilogy podcast series.
Does it have to be a good offer, or can it be a great offer?
It can be any offer. Just whatever works. Show me an offer. Mr. Pickles. Mr. Pickles going to show me an offer? You had that Mr. Pickles. I'm about to bring out Mr. Pickles look.
No, Sparkle's a unicorn.
Oh,
what makes a magical offer?
There you go.
Ooh, Eugene says an irresistible offer.
You are irresistible.
All right, cool. There you go. What?
You are irresistible when you put those unicorn horns on.
Wow. I'm going to leave that one alone. All right. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. And start working on your story, and we'll talk to you soon. Great job, Stu. Bye-bye, everybody.